What's up? What's up? It's Keith Gaines, and I help people upgrade their life. Are you ready for an upgrade? This is you 2.0. And what I want to talk about today is the idea of feeling lost. I have had many periods of my life where I definitely have felt lost. What does that mean? For me, what that means is just not really knowing where I'm going in my life, not really knowing where I am is where I want to be, not really having a clear sense of direction or a clear sense of focus or a clear sense of purpose, maybe is a good way to put it. And I'm actually kind of feeling a little bit of this today. So that's kind of why I wanted to do this video and be a little vulnerable. I woke up this morning feeling a little bit lost. Because there's some things in my life that I think are definitely in flux right now. There's some plans and ideas that I have that I'm looking to accomplish that are kind of in between. I'm kind of in between stages, if you will. I feel like I'm coming out of a phase of life, and I'm kind of morphing into a new phase of life, kind of a next phase of my journey, so to speak. And I'm in between two worlds. I'm in between the world. I'm coming from the world of what has been familiar and what I'm used to and what I kind of know, and going into a world of maybe a little bit of the unknown. Going into a world where I'm not familiar. Going into a world where I have to trust more in God and more in Source and trusting more in the universe, because there's a lot of things that I just don't have answers for right now. And I know for me, there's been times in the past where I've also felt lost and not sure what I'm doing, like not sure what my life is about, not sure what my purpose is, not sure if I am basically in the right place where I'm supposed to be, so to speak. And it's also that I've also had periods of depression that has related to that, where a lot of times people, and this is me, but I've talked to friends about this as well, a lot of times we have like this expectation of where we think our lives should be by now, like whatever age you are, wherever you are in the country, in the world, wherever stage of life that you're in. A lot of us feel often that we thought we would be somewhere else by now. Like here's an example. Like some people thought, by the time I was 25, I was going to be married. I had a belief when I was younger that I'd be married by a certain age. And I'm single, so, and I'm okay with that. Like I'm totally okay with that. But there was for a lot of females, at least some of my female friends, I know that they had an expectation, a belief that they were going to be married by such and such date, and then that date has come and gone, and it has caused a little bit of sadness, a little bit of like wonder, and like, why am I still single? Like I thought I'd be married with kids by now, and it hasn't happened yet. Like what's wrong with me? Some of the times we'll put it that label, like something's wrong with us because what we expect it to happen hasn't happened yet, and so sometimes that will result in you feeling a little lost. Sometimes it'll make you feel like you're like maybe in a desert, so to speak, or maybe your ship in the ocean of life took a wrong turn somewhere, and you're trying to figure out how did I get up so far off course. And what I want to share is just the idea of being lost is not a bad thing. It's not a negative place to be at all. Like I think a lot of people, when you feel lost or you're not having uncertainty in your life, it's like I got to figure it out. I got to get an answer. I got to be unlost. I got to have certainty. I got to know exactly how things are going to unfold and how things are going to turn out. I got to be sure. I can't handle this uncertainty. It's driving me crazy. I know for me that in times of uncertainty and in times of maybe doubt and maybe a little bit of fear, certainly there's some fear in there because you're not sure what's going to happen. You're not sure what's next. I have taken those times in my life to go within, to really like get quiet, to meditate, to really just like do some introspective thinking, to do some introspective investigation, maybe a little bit of an examination of your soul, of yourself, of your life, and just look at it from a macro perspective, more objectively, just looking at the big picture and just realizing that everything happens for a reason. Okay, there are no accidents in this life. There are no accidents in this universe. There's no accidents in life whatsoever. Like every single thing happens for a reason. And I think sometimes we come up with a belief system, an idea of how we think our lives should go, based on society. A lot of these belief systems come from society. They come from media. They come from our parents. They come from our teachers. They come from our mentors, our pastors, or anybody that we look up to. Media, the news. Like everybody's, there's a lot of people that say you should be married by this day. You should have a house by this time. You should drive a certain kind of car by this time. And if you check all these boxes, if you have the house, you have the car, you have the wife, you have the kids, you got the white picket fence, if you have all these boxes checked, then you're on the right path. Like, you're doing it right. Like, who says that's right? Like, who's to say, who's the authority on your life to tell you that if you do X, Y, Z, 1, 2, 3, then you've made it? Like, I don't know where that came from, but it's prevalent in our society where a lot of people feel like there's certain milestones they should have hit by a certain time. If they don't hit those milestones, they're a failure. And if they don't hit those milestones, they end up feeling lost. They end up feeling like they didn't make it, or there's something missing, or there's something wrong with them. And I just wanted to share this morning because I'm feeling a little lost this morning, and those types of thoughts start coming into my head, like, oh, Keith, you should have had this by now. You should have had this type of success. You should have been here by now. You should have been married. You should have had blah, blah, blah. Shoulda, shit all over myself, right? And then I stopped myself. I'm like, wait a minute. Like, where I am is exactly where I'm supposed to be, okay? Just because I'm not where I thought I would be doesn't mean I'm lost, okay? Just because I don't have what I wanted to have by now or thought I would have by now doesn't necessarily mean I'm lost at all. And what it means is I'm actually getting an awareness to where I am in the big scheme of life, and I'm getting more of a peace that I am where I'm supposed to be, And it's very subtle. It's a very subtle feeling of letting go. It's really from a place of letting go, and being just more mindful and being more aware of what is happening in your life. That the universe and is very intentional. There are no accidents that happen in our lives. I believe everything happens for a reason. There's a purpose for everything. And sometimes when you find yourself feeling lost, that's the best place to be, actually. I can tell you, I remember a story when I got laid off from a corporate job many years ago. It was during an economic downturn, and people were getting laid off left and right, okay? And luckily, or maybe unluckily, I don't know, however you look at it, I made it through like the first 2 rounds of layoffs, but the third round of layoffs, which is the final round, I got the axe. And I remember they called me into the conference room in the office, and they sat us down, and they basically said that, we're sorry, but due to economic conditions, we can no longer keep you employed. And it's interesting because a lot of people started to freak out. Like, there were people crying in the room, like really worried, like concerned. And as soon as they told me I was let go, dude, I just had like this peace come over me, just like this calmness. Like I wasn't worried about it. I was actually just kind of glad in a way, because I actually have been procrastinating becoming an entrepreneur and doing my own thing. And I was comfortable in a job that was getting the bills paid, and I was a little bit fearful about stepping out and on my own. And that was back in 2012, and now we're 2020. So I've been on my own as an entrepreneur, making my own money, making my own rules, living my own life by my design for the last 8 years, which is, looking back on that now, it's like, wow, that's huge. Like I was able to, it's been 8 years I've been on my own, doing my own thing, self-supporting, okay? So that's awesome. I'm proud of that. I'm definitely proud of that. But the point of the story is they let me go, and I just had this peace. Like, it's all gonna work out, man. It's all good, dude. Like, this is part of the plan. Like, what am I gonna worry? I can't worry. What's the point of worrying about this? Like, it's like, I just felt like this is the next step in my life, and I was just very trusting in God. I was very trusting that, the Bible says, I don't know if this is the Bible, but there's a quote that says, when God closes a door, he opens a window. And parents used to tell me that all the time when I was a kid. And that's true. Like, God closes a door, you think you're supposed to go through that door, all right? In your mind, you have this conception, like, I'm supposed to go through that door, but then the door shuts, and you're like, you freak out. Oh, no. I was supposed to go that way. Wait a minute. Now what do I do? But if you just take a minute, step back, and just meditate and get a little peace, and just kind of let go of the control in that situation, in that experience, and just trust that there's something better, different for you. Trust that when that door closes, God's going to open up the window, and that's going to be really where ultimately, looking back, you'll say, hey, you know what, that was so much better in the long run. That was such a better option. That was just a better path for me than the path that I thought I was supposed to be on. And looking back, being an entrepreneur for the last 8 years of my life, I can tell you that I would not trade one day of the past 8 years of my life. I would not trade one day, not at all, okay? Has it been all peaches and cream and roses and puppy dogs and kittens? No, not even close. Like, there have been struggles. There have been days where my bank account has been negative. There has been days when I just didn't know how I was gonna make ends meet, but I've also had days where it's like I've had more money in my bank account than ever before working for someone else, okay? It took me stepping out on my own to actually clear 6 figures for the first time. I never cleared 6 figures in a corporate job. It took me working for myself in real estate to clear 6 figures for the first time. Okay, so that's a milestone. That's something to be proud of. Okay, and I've learned a level of resolve. I've learned a level of self-discipline. I've learned a level of basically that Keith is a powerful person to create impact for himself and for others, and to create money and to have success. I don't need a boss. Nothing wrong with a job. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, if you have a job and you love it and you're excited, I'm all about it. But for those people who realize that, you know what, I want to be on my own, and they're hesitating, you know what, dude? If you're feeling lost, maybe now is a good time to take that plunge. Maybe now is a good time to kind of like let go of the reins and let go of control, and maybe take a step towards fulfilling your dreams, fulfilling your purpose, and that desire in your heart to be an entrepreneur and to do your own thing and build your own brand, or to create change and create impact in your mission and your purpose, what you're passionate about. And so I wanted to encourage you, if you're feeling lost, it's not a bad place to be. I've been there. Again, like I said this morning, I'm feeling a little bit lost this morning, only because there's some things that are up in the air. I have uncertainty, but that's part of life, ladies and gentlemen. Like, that's just being human being. Like, we all deal with it. I think it's an opportunity to go within, to have some time of introspection, and to really come to a new understanding, a new resolution, a new idea, just a new discovery is probably a good way to say it. Just have some new discoveries, and just be open to what comes into your experience. Be open to what God might bring into your life over the next days or weeks or months or whatever. Just be open and trust. That's probably the biggest word I would leave you with, is trust that everything works the way it's supposed to work. Everything happens the way it's supposed to happen. And I want to encourage you, again, if you're feeling lost, meditate, get some books, read, go on YouTube, find some mentors, find some people that speak to your heart, and listen to what they have to say. Get wisdom. Go sit down with someone, grab lunch with someone, say, hey, I'm feeling lost. And someone that you care, maybe your pastor from your church, spiritual leader in your community, whoever, whatever, just go sit, get some wisdom, get some insight. That's I did that too, and that helped a lot, getting some wisdom from people that I trust, certainly friends, mentors, so on and so forth. So that's it. I want to encourage you all just to, it's okay to feel lost. There's nothing wrong with you. It's nothing wrong with you. But I think, again, one more time, that a lot of times we feel lost because we have an expectation of where we should have been by now, and maybe that expectation is not really what's best for your life. So you have to kind of trust God, trust the universe, that there's a bigger plan here that you may not know about, but it's going to work out in the end better than anything that you could have imagined on your own in your limited consciousness or your limited understanding. And so that's all. I love you all, as always, sending all the most health, wealth, peace, prosperity, and love. See ya.